Antawa with the news-making headlines around the world. The Moon Sighting Committee convenes tomorrow night hoping to spot the crescent of the holy month of Ramadan. His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah receives Ramadan well wishes on the first 3 days of the holy month. Iraq's Prime Minister meets the British Foreign Secretary as he confirms an airstrike on militants on the Iraqi and Syrian borders. And as Shabab attacks a hotel in central Somalia used by Somali soldiers and Djiboutian peacekeepers working for the African Union. In our first item, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the Ministry of Justice said in a statement today that the Legitimate Moon Sighting Committee would convene at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow, Friday, the 29th of Sha'ban, 1435 Hijri, that's corresponding to the 27th of June of 2014, to seek legal evidence of sighting the crescent of the holy month of Ramadan. The meeting will take place at the head office of the Kuwait Institute for Judicial and Legal Studies. The Ministry of Justice seizes this opportunity to call on anyone who will be able to see the crescent to come forward and present his testimony. The Ministry of Justice expressed deep felicitations to His Highness the Emir, His Highness the Crown Prince and His Highness the Prime Minister on this occasion, wishing them all the best of health. The Ministry also expressed its felicitations to all citizens, expats, as well as to the Arabs and Muslim nations on the advent of the holy month of Ramadan, with many more to come. In a statement issued today, the Emiri Diwan said it was pleased to convey to the honourable citizens and expatriates the congratulations of His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah on the advent of the holy month of Ramadan. May God bring many happy returns of this blessed occasion as the citizens enjoy peace and prosperity. The statement said that His Highness the Emir, His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah and members of Al Sabah family would receive well wishes on this blessed month of the first, second and third day of Ramadan between 9 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. at the Honourable Sabah Family Diwan in Bayan Palace. The Emiri Diwan prayed for a long life to His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, His Highness Sheikh Jabal Al Mubarak Al Hamad Al Sabah, the Prime Minister, and wished them all the best of health, with many happy returns of this blessed occasion for our beloved homeland and for the Arab and Islamic nations. His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah sent a cable of congratulations to His Excellency President Henry Rajawanar Yamambianina of the Republic of Madagascar on the occasion of his country's National Day. His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah sent a cable of congratulations to His Excellency President Henry Rajawanar Yamambianina of the Republic of Madagascar on the occasion of his country's National Day. And His Highness Sheikh Jabal Al Mubarak Al Hamad Al Sabah, the Prime Minister, also sent a similar cable. Voters went to the polling center to cast ballots in the by-elections for 5 seats in the National Assembly during the rest of the 14th legislative term. 72 candidates are running for the 5 seats in 3 constituencies in Kuwait. Commenting on the ongoing voting, the National Assembly Speaker Marzouk Ali Al-Ghanem said he was happy at the prevailing atmosphere and honest competition among the candidates. Speaking to reporters after voting, Mr. Al-Ghanem said he came to elect whom he believed would represent him in the best way. He added that Kuwait was going through a very critical time as represented by His Highness the Emir in his address to the nation, adding that he hoped that the citizens would comprehend what His Highness the Emir has said. The Deputy Premier and Minister of Interior and Acting Minister of Awqaf and Islamic Affairs Sheikh Mohammed Al-Khalid Al-Hamad Al-Sabah and the Minister of State for Cabinet Affairs and Acting Minister of Justice Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah Al-Mubarak Al-Sabah visited a number of polling centers today to familiarize themselves with the progress of the ongoing elections. Speaking after his visit to the polling center in a school at Abdullah Salim suburb, Sheikh Mohammed Al-Khalid said the voting process is proceeding with a very smooth way with excellent turnover, which will certainly increase in the afternoon. He expressed pleasure at the prevailing atmosphere and thanked the Ministries of Interior, Justice and Health, as well as all others involved governmental agencies for their good organization of the election. The National Assembly Speaker Marzouk Ali Al-Ghanem met at his office today with the first batch of the Assembly premises guards. They took the military oath before him upon assuming their new duties. The Assistant Secretary General of the National Assembly for National Guards, First Major General Bassam Al-Rifai, presented to Mr. Al-Ghanem the new guards on this occasion. The swearing-in ceremony was attended by the Assembly members Dr. Yusuf Al-Zalzala and Adnan Abdel Samad, beside the manager of the Guard Force Department, Brigadier Khalid Al-Waqit. His Highness Sheikh Jabir Al-Mbarak Al-Hamad Al-Subah, the Prime Minister, held a meeting late last night at his Diwan in Sif Palace to discuss serious efforts exerted by the government to tackle the slow bureaucratic cycle in executing government projects and removing obstacles hindering the execution of those projects on time. The meeting was attended by the First Deputy Premier and Foreign Minister Sheikh Subah Al-Khalid Al-Hamad Al-Subah, Minister of State for Cabinet Affairs and Acting Minister of Justice Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah Al-Mbarak Al-Subah, Minister of Finance Anas Khalid Al-Saleh, Minister of Public Works and Minister of Electricity and Water Abdulaziz Abdul Latif Al-Ibrahim, Minister of Social Affairs and Labour and Minister of State for Planning and Development Hind Sabih Barak Sabih, Secretary General of the Council of Ministers Abdul Latif Abdullah Rodan, Kuwait Chamber of Commerce and Industry President Ali Mohammed Nayan Al-Ghanem, Second Deputy of the President of Kuwait Chamber of Commerce and Industry Abdul Wahab Mohammed Al-Wazan, and Head of the Central Tenders Committee Ahmed Al-Kleb. The meeting was also attended by Head of the Fatwa and Legislation Department Salah Al-Masad, Head of the Technical Department for Studying Development and Projects and Initiatives Adil Mohammed Al-Rumi, Acting President of the Audit Bureau Abdulaziz Al-Sarawi, Head of the Governmental Performance Follow-up Apparatus Sheikh Ahmed Mish'al Al-Ahmed Al-Jabir Al-Subah, Head of the Committee tasked with selecting consultancy houses Fuad Al-Majid, Undersecretary for Security and Economic Affairs at His Highness the Prime Minister's Diwan Sheikh Fahd Jabir Al-Mbarak Al-Hamad Al-Subah, Assistant Undersecretary for Censorship and Information Technology Aysam Abdulaziz Al-Khalid, Board Member at Kuwait Chamber of Commerce and Industry Osama Mohammed Yusuf Al-Nasf, as well as General Manager at Kuwait Chamber of Commerce and Industry Rubah Abdul Rahman Al-Rubah. His Highness the Prime Minister inaugurated the meeting by welcoming the attendees and expressing congratulations to His Highness the Emir Sheikh Subah Al-Ahmed Al-Jabir Al-Subah, His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Jabir Al-Subah, the Kuwaiti people and the Islamic nation on the advent of the holy month of Ramadan. His Highness Sheikh Jabir Al-Mbarak stated that this meeting is convened after the Supreme Planning and Development Council accomplished the development schemes 2015-2016, 2019-2020, affirming the necessity of pressing ahead with optimum execution of those aspiring plans, accomplishing the ventures and securing all requirements that are necessary for success. His Highness the Premier expressed gratitude for the good efforts exerted by the supervisory and executive authorities, the constructive cooperation on part of the private sector for the sake of pushing work and construction forward for achieving the aspirations. His Highness Sheikh Jabir Al-Mbarak said that certain defects and flaws have appeared in the actual implementation of the government ventures for decades. Thus, proper practical solutions must be found to tackle all those hindrances and have delayed their executions. He said such a meeting, grouping elite, distinguished and experienced officials involved in planning government ventures, conducting relevant procedures, tendering and executing them, should result in pinpointing the flaws and proposing serious solutions and finding the best systems to ensure work of the executive mechanisms of the government projects and accomplish them as scheduled. His Highness the Prime Minister stated methods for tackling the issues such as safeguarding public funds and investing them soundly, abidance by the laws, ensuring full transparency in all phases of the projects, granting equal opportunities to all, rapid implementation of the projects and ensuring quality and activating serious auditing and taking action against any person who may cause delays in the execution process. A number of officials spoke during the meeting, shedding light on hurdles they face in their work and presenting solutions to ensure speedy execution of the ventures. They also affirmed keenness on placing all resources at their disposal of tackling the problems, thanking His Highness the Premier for his concern to these crucial issues. His Highness the Prime Minister ordered formation of an executive team representing the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Public Works, the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the Central Tenders Committee, Al-Fatwa and Legislation Department, and the Government Performance Follow-up Committee. The team was tasked with discussing these issues and presenting proposals to shorten the bureaucratic work and speed up the execution of the projects. His Highness also tackled the Minister of Social Affairs to serve as the General Coordinator for the special team. The Deputy Premier Minister of Interior and Acting Minister of Awqaf and Islamic Affairs, Sheikh Mohammed Al-Khalid Al-Hamad Al-Subah, handed over Kuwait nationality certificates to the protection members who took part in the motorcade of the late Emir, Sheikh Jaber Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Subah. May God bless his soul. The certificates were granted to them by His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Subah Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Subah, in appreciation of their sacrifices and loyalty. The Media Department at the Ministry of Interior said in a statement issued today that the handing over of the nationality certificates came in implementation of the orders of His Highness the Emir. Sheikh Mohammed Al-Khalid said he was proud of what the protection members did during the vicious attack on His Highness motorcade in 1985, and so in appreciation of their sacrifices and loyalty to the country, they were given those certificates. The ceremony was attended by the Assistant Under-Secretary of the Ministry of Interior for Nationality and Passports Affairs, Major General Sheikh Mazen Al-Jarrah Al-Subah. The Deputy Premier and Minister of Defense, Sheikh Khalid Al-Jarrah Al-Subah, discussed today with the U.S. Chargé d'Affaires in Kuwait, Michael Adler, a number of issues of mutual interest during their meeting today. The Deputy Premier and Minister of Defense received Mr. Adler, who was accompanied by Head of the American Military Cooperation Office, Major General Rich Watson, upon the end of his tenure in the country. The Guidance and Public Relations Department at the Ministry of Defense said the U.S. Chargé d'Affaires also introduced to Sheikh Khalid Al-Jarrah Major General Scott Williams, the new head of the Military Cooperation Office. The department said the Deputy Premier and Minister of Defense thanked the outgoing Major General Watson for his efforts and wished his successor all the best of success to further strengthen military cooperation between the State of Kuwait and the United States. British Foreign Secretary William Hague arrived in Baghdad today for talks with Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki centered around the crisis gripping the country, in addition to having meetings with Parliament Speaker Osama al-Nujayfi and other political leaders. Meanwhile, the militants took a town an hour from Baghdad that is home to 4 natural gas fields, another gain by the insurgents who have swiftly taken large areas to the north and west of the Iraqi capital. Recently, Britain ruled out any military involvement in Iraq, but Hague said in a British operational liaison and a reconnaissance team arrived in Baghdad at the weekend and that Britain would provide humanitarian assistance as needed. Earlier today, in an interview, Iraqi Premier al-Maliki expressed his support for a Syrian airstrike on the militants at a border crossing between Iraq and Syria, adding that it was carried out on the Syrian side, while the military and rebel sources said the strike took place inside Iraq at the Qaim crossing. Militants hurled grenades at the gate of a hotel in central Somalia today and then opened fire as they burst into the building used by Somali soldiers and Djiboutian African Union peacekeepers. Al-Qaeda-linked group Al-Shabaab said it killed several guards and soldiers, including 2 senior officials, in the attack in the town of Boulevarde, but the deaths could not be confirmed independently. Residents said 2 of the attackers had been shot dead. The African Union has a 22,000-strong force in Somalia to help the weak government fight Al-Shabaab, which attacked the parliament in Mogadishu in May, killing at least 10 security officers. Investigators looking into the disappearance of the Malaysian Airlines plane are confident the jet was on autopilot when it crashed in a remote stretch of the Indian Ocean. After analyzing data between the plane and the satellite, officials believe Flight 370 was operating on autopilot the entire time it was flying across a vast expanse of the southern Indian Ocean. But exactly when the Boeing 777 began running on autopilot is still not known. Australian Deputy Prime Minister Warren Truss announced yet another change in the search area for the wreckage of the plane that vanished during a flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing on March the 8th, with 239 passengers and crew on board. The new search area is located several hundred kilometers southwest of the most recent suspected crash site. That's about 1,800 kilometers off Australia's west coast. And moving on to local business news, where the price index of Kuwait Stock Exchange posted gains upon closing in today's session, reading 6,981 points. That's rising by 16.5 points. The weight index dropped 1.85 points and the KSS 15 slipped 11.01 points. Number of trades amounted to 3,451 transactions worth about 15 million Kuwaiti dinars, with around 131 million shares changing hands. And in our final item tonight in World Cup news, France and Switzerland qualified for the round of 16 of the tournament, with 4 other teams to qualify tonight. 2 matches have just started between Germany and the United States, as well as Portugal versus Ghana. Algeria will try to make history tonight as they take on Russia, as a win will guarantee their qualification to the round of 16 for the first time ever. The match will kick off at 2300 hours Kuwait time, with another match taking place at the same time between Belgium and South Korea. For a chance to see our reports again, please visit our YouTube channel at MOI Kuwait News. Well, with that, we conclude our news bulletin. Thank you for joining us. Have a pleasant time. I'm Maham Pawa. Before we go, we remind you once again of our main top stories. Have a pleasant time and good night. The Moon Sighting Committee convenes tomorrow night, hoping to spot the crescent of the holy month of Ramadan. His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jabir Al Sabah receives Ramadan well wishes on the first 3 days of the holy month. Iraq's Prime Minister meets the British Foreign Secretary as he confirms an airstrike on militants on the Iraqi and Syrian borders. And Al-Shabaab attacks a hotel in central Somalia used by Somali soldiers and Djiboutian peacekeepers working for the African Union.